Hey everyone, I'm Big E, and I am the general manager of the Boston Shoremen. What we're looking at here is an online league for out of the park baseball. This is the CBA. And so, just to give a little background, what this is we're going into the 2070 season. Spring training just ended. I finished 17 and 13 in spring training. So, first, before we really get into it, just a brief primer on what the CBA is it's baseball. The seasons are a little shorter, only 126 game seasons, but the twist is that this league is set up in a promotion and relegation style similar to European football, like the English Premier League and all those different leagues. So I am in the Premier League. There's the Premier League, and then there's all the minor leagues, and then we also have colleges that you can actually go and check out, which is a very cool part of the league. Then there's the Silver League. So the Premier League is the cream of the crop. Silver League is the middle of the road. Then Bronze League is the worst. And so when I took over the team, it was in the 2050s, and I was in the Bronze League. And then I won the Bronze League, went to the Silver League, won the Silver League, and got to the Premier League. And I've been in the Premier League ever since. Um, so just to give a little bit more visual history, it cuts off my time in the 2050s, but they weren't pretty. I got my ass kicked for like a decade. And then I started putting together a team, and then I destroyed the Bronze League, destroyed the Silver League back to back, made it to the Premier League. I finished first, and then immediately entering the Premier League, my team has just been ass. It's not been pretty. Past 2 years, I've been 53 and 73, and yeah, it's. I'm by the way, I'm definitely leaking all my financials. And so, for anyone curious, when you're in the Bronze League, the difference between the leagues, Bronze League gets a budget of around $100 million, plus or minus whatever. Silver League gets a budget of around $130 million, plus or minus whatever, and then Premier League gets a budget of $160 million, plus or minus whatever. There's a few other twists, like there's no arbitration. So if you look at a guy, they stay league minimum for however long they're for their 6 years. Um, okay, yeah. So let's talk about my team. So I think to best illustrate why I'm excited for the season, what I want to look at is this positional view. Um, and this is essentially the starters at different points in time throughout my team's history. And you'll notice the past 2 years, I really had like the same. Well, I'm sorry, this year's not real, but in 2068 and 2069, where I had the same record, um, I had this pretty much the same starters. And so just to kind of go through, uh, Carl, not no longer on the team. Uh, Jesus, no longer on the team. He is now on my AAA team. He's in AAA. He's a backup now. Longon is long gone. Ha ha ha. Malone's back because he's purely there for his glove, and Lee is in center field, AAA. So 8 of my 9 starters are gone, and that's just my hitters. If you go to pitching, Benavides is back, Van Morik is back, Barham is in my bullpen, and Rodriguez is back, but Godley's gone, um, and I got 3 additional starting pitchers. 2 of them I think are like actual aces. So I took my 3 best pitchers. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends. I thought Barton was a little lucky. Then I added 3 more. So this is a brand new team. I think I'm gonna crown myself and say that I had the most. I added the most talent in the offseason in the whole league. Now, of course, that's subjective, but one of the guys I added was Wes Copping, and he's been really, really good. He's typically 3 WAR in our league is like far. Think about that more as like 4 because it's only 25 starts, not 32 or whatever. So maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but he's historically been pretty good. As you can see, his ratings are great, even though my scout views him as low. I'm pretty solid, sure that he's going to be good. He had a good spring training. Um, and I have 2 more years of control for Wes Copping, and I'm really excited to have him. Then I have Juan Benavides. He's a pretty good, well-rounded pitcher. Um, he's had 2 good years and he had a bad last year. I'm hoping he can bounce back a little bit, but I also have 4 more years of him, so I'm happy to have him. Then Henny, um, he's been he's had his whole career in Boston, and he's had a pretty good career. Um, So I extended him to probably too much money. Probably a little too much money because I was like, he's always had a good ERA, and then I don't know. I think that's probably more of an emotional extension than a logical extension, but I like him. He's my boy. Um, so I have him as my number two. He's really more of like number three. He's really more of a four. Elijah Hampton's my number two. I'm really excited to have this guy. He's fragile, which scares me, and so I traded for him during his last year of control, and I just extended him. So he has an opt out after year three, and which I'm kind of hoping he will opt out, so I don't have these years. But even if he doesn't, I will have that team option. And so I'm pretty happy with that contract. I am nervous that he's fragile, but you know what? You gotta take some risks, and he's a risk that I will definitely take. Um, I also brought in Bob Watts, who's really not good. I mean, when you look at his numbers, he hasn't played consistently in 3 years. And when he played, he wasn't that great. I brought him in because of two reasons. One, he's a captain, and two, he's a lefty. Um, I had I have my sixth pitcher is a bad personality with decent ratings. He's historically pitched well. Again, he had a bad last year, but he's had a 3 WAR year, and then he had a shortened year where he got hurt. But even then, that's kind of bad, I guess. But anyway, I'm hoping that I'm gonna run with a 6-man rotation. That's the current plan. I'm not sure if that's a good plan, but that is the plan. Then looking at the bullpen, there's just a bunch of guys who are a little less interesting. Justin Reeds is the most interesting. I've decided he's going to be my closer. He is a homegrown product. Joey Cleveland lost the job. Last year he was really bad. He had a 5 ERA and negative WAR, and that's a first round draft pick. When I drafted him, he was like 75, 60, 40. I'm like, yeah, that'll play. I think I might have even drafted him here. I drafted him here at 80, 50, 45 because it was 2060. Let's see, 2066. Right around here. Yeah, either way, I drafted him. He had a couple great years. Then he's no longer good. So he lost the job. I also have David Mora, who I'm also really happy to have. So other than that, the bullpen is just more or less some dudes. Talking about my hitters, all these guys again are mostly new, except for Shivstov and Malone. Luo, my catcher, he had the job for a while, and then I had a catcher who I was really high on, so I started him and then traded that catcher for a first round pick, which I then used to get some of my starting pitchers that we just looked at, Hampton and Copping. Um, so he has the job again. He's mostly here for his glove and an okay bat. Um, but starting from the top, I brought back Kaneko. I've loved this guy for a while, so there's a bit of a history. He was on my team, and he had a great year. He's typically been a pretty good player, and then after his monster year, he got like really greedy, and was like hoping for like a mega contract in spring training. I'm sorry, in the off season that nobody was willing to give him, so he kind of just like sat for a while, and signed like midway through the season. So he's missed some time, and so I took advantage of that and got him on a 2-year deal during his age 33 and 34 season. Then I traded for Russell Rhodes, and I'm really hoping that for the next 6 years he can be a solid mashing first baseman. He had a good spring. Um, I'm kind of crossing my fingers on him. Then I got this guy in the same trade, Jerry Martinez. You might be like, okay, these ratings aren't that sick. Well, he had a 5 WAR season in AAA. He's not even 23. And I really got him because he plays a decent outfield and he mashes righties. And believe it or not, I actually sucked versus righties. So I was excited for that. Shivstov, I'm a little heartbroken. He was an MVP, and then he wasn't. I mean, he was like a monster. So he went from being Shivstov to shit show, and I extended him an MVP candidate. I extended for like $2 million. And the thing is, you looked like Cody Bellinger or Christian Yelich. Like they had like an injury and then they started to suck. No, the dude just like fell off a cliff. But he had a decent year last year. He's a DH. So I also brought in Francisco Gomez, mostly here for his glove and third base. If he he's had a couple good years in a row. They're of course in the Bronze League, which is the lowest league, so these are going to come down. But if he puts up a 100 weighted runs created plus with a really good glove at third, an okay glove at third, I'll be thrilled. That's really what I wanted from him. Alan Davidson has been a pleasant surprise. He was my second round draft pick last year, actually. And another thing about this league is the draft is super powerful. So like this is the second, and in like another league I'm in, this is like a top 5 pick. But either way, he played really well this spring, and I was looking for an extra outfielder that can hit lefties, and he can. So he's kind of a left fielder because of that arm. So he's going to be in left field the vast majority of the time. I think actually all the time. Left field. Yes, he's in left field all the time. But I'm hoping that his bat will continue to tick up and he'll play well. Even if he puts up like a 100 weighted RC plus, I'll be thrilled. Then I have Bahina, who's a glove first shortstop. And if this dude puts up like an 85, I'll be like jumping for joy. 85 weighted runs created plus. I love his glove. I signed him for $10 million. That's what I value that glove as. So for the next 6 years, he's the shortstop. Luau, defensive guy, we looked at. And Malone, defensive guy. So pretty boring. Bottom 3 is pretty weak. My top 3, I think, is pretty good. Then it gets a little iffy. I have 3 good hitters. I have 3 hitters. And then I have 3 hitters that are going to give me a bit of a heart attack, but they're here for their glove up the middle. So that's kind of what my team's looking like. I have some prospects I'm excited about too. Eddie Hill's one of them. He's probably more of a second baseman than a shortstop because I'm pretty strict that you have to have like an elite glove to play short for me. But I mean, if he develops to this, I'll be happy. I do wish he had more speed, but I can't really control that, can I? Another guy that I have is Elijah Jackson, who is probably going to be a left fielder or right fielder. He's 16, not even 17, and that's his current ratings. So I'm going to keep him down in young A for one more year and hope he like develops even more. But I'm really excited to have him. Another guy who I traded for today, John Macias. He's a DH, but he's 18, and these are his, he mashes righties, and it was for a second-round draft pick. And you know what? I'll gamble on a second-round draft pick. I have a couple other guys, which are just whatever. This guy is actually a reliever, so ignore that. Mario Sanchez as another first baseman. He's pretty okay. Fabian Frazzini, I'm kind of high on. I'm hoping that eventually I can put him in right field. Maybe not this year, but like next year. He had a bad spring. This is his stats from this spring, and I'm not happy. But I'm crossing my fingers on him. I'm pretty high on him. And I think that's pretty much it for my guys I like. There's a couple other guys which are just like okay, but those are my main dudes. Other than that, I mean, it's kind of go time in Boston. It's a fun time to be a Shoreman fan. So yeah, I decided that I'm going to do one of these videos at the beginning of the year, then one of these videos at the end of the year, and then I might do like at the end of the season, and then I might do like a playoff just for like history's sake, where I would like say, hey, this team won, like Phoenix won last year, so I would, sorry, Tommy, who's the Phoenix GM, but I would, whichever team won, I'd make a video of, and I kind of go through, and cause I think that'd be fun for like league history. But either way, thanks for joining me. More CBA content coming in the future. All right, thanks guys, bye.